Good morning. It's the 8 a.m. Coffee Podcast. I'm Asher, and that's Paul over there on the right. And this is the podcast where we have hot coffee and even hotter guests. That is Brandon in the middle. Brandon Dunford, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good, man. That is probably the best intro. I'm gonna take that as a big compliment. Thank you so much,
I
Hey,
stole that from a show called Hot Ones on YouTube.
bro.
So
Hot Ones is the best interviewed type of show. It puts celebrity. I am a huge fan of Hot Ones,
heck
I have
yeah.
not seen a single episode.
bro. It's the show where we have what is it? Hotter.
Hot sauce or hot
No,
wings,
no.
and
It's
Hot,
catchphrase.
hot
It's
questions and even hotter wings.
even hotter wings. Today we have
so here's just really quickly. This is what I was thinking about with Brandon. First of all, in our massive running of episodes, he is not only our only repeat guest, but he is now the only one to come back to back days. I'm just saying, I don't know if it'll ever happen again, but you have now set the standard, so it is what it
Am
is.
I the only guest on the show too that have given you guys a gift bag?
Yes.
Yes.
Just checking off the list.
A great gift bag at that. I was telling Paul as you were getting ready, I ate so much of that butter yesterday, like an inordinate amount of that because I had some homemade bread. The bread's almost gone, the butter's almost gone, and I don't feel great. I'd feel good about it, but I don't feel physically well. It's delicious.
I hope that's because of the butter, not because of how I made it. So
No,
that's the
yeah,
good.
it
Figured.
feels like it feels like clean eating, kind of.
Okay.
Other than the fact that it's butter, it it feels good. It feels clean.
Hey mom, I've been on this diet. Yeah, it's been clean, straight butter.
Hmm.
It's been, what do you mean it's not good for me? No, it makes me feel like terrible the next day, but like it's clean eating.
Hmm. It
It's all
feels
natural.
it's smooth. Yeah, it's all natural. There you go.
Uh,
So go ahead, Paul.
So we hadn't come on yet, and Brandon, you were in the back running around or doing something, and we were admiring your basket wall, which is really awesome. But Asher made a comment about my shirt, which is Agrabah, City of Mystery, because I like random, like off topic, or they're not off topic, but it's just random detail shirts and stuff from Disney movies. But I have a shirt that I tend to wear, and it's unintentional sarcasm when we go to Disney World. Somehow we're always there on marathon weekends. I just need that to be understood. Somehow we
Amen.
always show up on a marathon weekend. But somehow or another, on the marathon on Sunday, I end up wearing a shirt that says "Park hopping is my cardio," and not intentionally or anything, because I'm not a runner. Let's just put it there, right?
Hands.
But I'm walking around and everybody's got all these medals on, and I'm wearing a shirt that says "Park hopping is my cardio," and I either get looks of like "That's awesome," or I get looks of "How dare you?" And
That guy.
I
Yeah.
it's very unintentionally sarcastic, and I hope that you can admire that throughout the thing. Did you also feel like going to Hawaii again today? Because I saw your cup just now.
No. Yesterday was Hawaii Day. I felt like going
Mm,
to Hawaii, but today I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go to the jungles of the animal kingdom, and so
mm.
I'm in line right now for Flight of Passage. I have a fast pass for uh, you know Everest, and we're gonna do Disney. So let's do
Are you legitimately doing that, or are you? Because
it.
I
What if?
can't.
What
Because
if?
there are
What if?
no tier one fast passes available for the week that we are going. So I just need you to know that.
Well,
So.
keep checking. And I know that Ashley is so amazing at her job, so she knows how to do all that. But the
Yep.
what if I did that though? What if I was getting on the app and just getting fast passes, and then at that time I'm like, don't bother me, I'm on the ride, like in quarantine. Like, what if that was the every
I
day?
don't. Did you see the guy that was taking his kids in the laundry baskets? and do
Yes.
roller
It's
coasters.
I've
hilarious.
actually done that, and it hurts the arms. I'm just gonna say, like this was when Malachi was a lot younger, but yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I know I went really quickly down a Disney path, but Asher here is wanting to go as well.
So bad.
Um,
I
have you been? No,
we've briefly talked on this. I haven't been since I was like 3 or 4 years old,
that's right.
so I don't remember anything about it.
Gas.
We were right. We were planning on going in June of this year. Our anniversary is the 11th. But then everything happened, so we'll see. Hopefully later this year.
Yeah. Well, we were actually at the Disney Resort when they shut down
No
for
way.
this whole thing. Yeah. So I was talking to Paul about this. We went for my son's birthday, and right before we left, there's another resort that's actually on the beach called Vero Beach, and we stayed there for 3 days, and then we were going to stay 3 days at the Beach Club Resort, which is actually on the Disney property. And
Best pool
dude,
ever.
best pool, man. We spent all day there. Gosh, beaches and cream, that place. Gosh. Anyway, so why they shut down the parks, which we had no intention to go to the parks. That's the level I would even say we're at with Disney. Is we go to the resorts too, because the resorts are amazing. So the day we left, they had shut down the parks, but they hadn't announced that they were going to shut down any of the resorts yet. So we're like, we're
Right.
still golden. So anyway, Disney, the reason why we love Disney, I think everyone would say a different reason, but our reason is the customer service level is just, oh my goodness, right? So my son's birthday, that's what we're celebrating. No one was there. Like days leading up to them closing, like no one was there. So we're getting knocks on our door every single morning with balloons, a Toy Story like kid play kit, and a card, and the staff is just singing them happy birthday, like multiple days.
Right.
So
Has that quick question, because you mentioned the customer service. I feel
Yeah.
like it's something that I would recognize once we go to Disney. Has that ruined your experience at other places? Because I mean,
yes,
I'm
yes, no, I'll go to Gatlinburg, and I'm like, this is Gatlinburg, bro. This is
Why are we going?
unmatched.
why am I
Like-
like my wife's like, hey, it has an indoor pool, and I'm like, yeah, it's got an indoor
course it
pool,
does.
but you know,
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no-
at Beach Club. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just
What?
I was just thinking like Amazon, before the Corona thing, such good customer service. Like if I had a complaint about something, they'll make it right. They'll give us a gift card, all that kind of stuff. It's like there are these two companies in the world that have that level of customer service, and then everything else, it's like, come on, you could do better.
You know, I would disagree with the level of customer service. It's just well-known large companies.
Mhm.
Most of your elite customer service are your smaller, and I don't even want to say mom and pop because it's not like that. Like if you've ever been to Blackberry Farms, like we'll talk about customer service. Like
Yeah.
I mean, like they flew to New York to get something for somebody for one night. Like they flew up there, got it, and flew back one time.
Dang.
So now, but you're paying, minimum $1,900 a night to stay there. So, I mean, that's that. But, dude, Disney is so like, so the best bang for your buck at Beach Club Resort, and I don't know if you know this or not, is the what are those things called next to the pool? The cabanas. So for half a day, it's $100. You can get up to 7 people in there underneath some shade with a TV, a lounge, a personal server. Like now you still have to pay for all your stuff and everything, but you're legitimately 3 feet away from oh yeah, you also get all the non-alcoholic beverages and all the fruit you can eat. Is that what it is?
Oh,
Do you
geez.
And
have a-
it is
do you-
it was $100 a day, and I think I booked every single day we were there because we were taking kids. Because I don't like Asher. This pool is massive,
Right.
right? But you can't find chairs together. You just can't,
Right. Yeah.
right? So if you go, but it's got shade, it's got TV. Like, dude, you just put your kids there, let them watch television.
It's got
You
sand at
know,
the bottom of the pool, bro.
I
That's cool.
taught the 6-year-old how to order for me. Like it was great. You have a direct text to them. Like, and it's seriously one server for 6 cabanas, something like that. So they've got the ones that are right on the water, and then they've got the ones that are kind of like 10 feet back. So the people with kids get the ones right on the water because they can just go right into the sandy pool. Right? It's like a beach. It legitimately is like a beach. And then the ones that are further back are usually the adults.
Mm.
And it's a boat ride across to like 7 or 8 different restaurants. Like it's to the back door of Epcot. So you walk right in the back and then you go around and then you come back out. I mean, it's
Now I'll say
like,
this though, like it's got a lazy river, okay?
well,
But I'll say this:
but it's like 8 feet deep.
if you go to Alani, which is Disney Hawaiian Resort in Hawaii, their lazy river is, I mean, like amazing because like their whole thing is their pool area. Really, they have multiple water slides, multiple. I mean, it's amazing. Hey, one thing, Paul, I would say this: if you've ever wanted Ashley to be a part of this right now, I feel like you have an analyst maybe sitting over to
Oh,
the next of you.
the only reason I knew the word cabana is because she said
I
it
know,
right
and that's I was
now.
trying to stop you because I was like, "Do you have an analyst like doing research right now?" And you're like, "Are those numbers right?" Yeah, so those are the numbers.
No,
Yeah, we're checking with our producers off camera.
so
Yeah.
we no, there's, I mean, like, so Epcot International Circle is probably my favorite place to go outside, but I'm going to tell you very, very quickly rising to the top when we said it off air or we said it on air was Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom it's like a giant zoo.
Dude, it's got
It,
everything.
it's, it's so like, I mean, even take the Avatar rides out of it, which are like the major rides.
Mm.
Even take the rides out of it, except Kilimanjaro Safari. I could sit on that thing all day, and I become a kid again going to the zoo. Like it really is that awesome. Now I will say this: Disney's not everybody's cup of tea. Like
No,
it's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's great. That's great. Don't let it be your cup of tea because it's crowded. Don't come back. Um,
no. So we took a family with us one time, just trying to do something nice, and they they had been to Disneyland. They'd never been to Disney World. They were missionaries. They were in town, and we were just trying to do something nice. And man, they just dragging us down, Debbie Downer. So
Really?
there was a point where we just said, yeah. So there was a point where we just said, hey, look, meet us back at this time, and we're gonna go do us. We're gonna do us, boo. And so we went off and did our own thing. But yeah, we've had experiences where it has been amazing, and really. The dictator is the people that you're with. I really do think
Mm.
that. And I want to tell a real quick story just because this is
yeah,
what
please.
the level of hospitality. This is what changed. It wasn't oh, it's your honeymoon, you can cut the lines. Like that's happened, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It was when there was a little girl crying. She had like dropped her ice cream cone or something like that. I say ice cream cone, but if I'm a true Disney fan, like they don't really have ice cream cones in like Magic Kingdom, so it's like the Disney Mickey ear, whatever. But she had dropped it, and there's a street sweeper that was near, walked over, and it had just rained or something, and walked over and tapped her on the shoulder and said, "Watch this." And he dips his broom into a puddle and draws a perfect Goofy. I mean, a perfect Goofy with the water and his brush on the ground. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
What?
he said, "I hope you have a magical day." And he walked away. Changed my whole perspective of which at my like understanding was the janitor doing this, right?
Right.
Did you know they actually train their people to do that? Like
To
that's
do
like I
real
go,
magic.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I go on there and I look and I'm like, probably a couple years later because I tell this story all the time of that is what changed the game for me is someone that is at a janitorial level that is picking up trash, whether that's a manager or whatever, They went to that level to make that kid happy.
Yeah.
And that kid wasn't saying, draw me a picture. They knew that this one little touch, the little detail, Paul, details, that little detail right there, boom, changed the game. And guess what? Not just for the little girl. I'm still talking about it.
It's planning details, not execution details.
Okay.
So
Sure.
But Asher, that's one of a million stories, man. It's like there are just like we went in February because, why not when they close schools? Let's just head there for, and I took the bigger kids into the parks to ride some heavier stuff, right? Like some faster rides that the little ones couldn't ride. And like they were like, and one of our kids was, I don't know if she was upset about it or anything like that, but they were like, oh, here's a cupcake because your brothers and sisters went off and rode. I mean, like, even though that seems like very minute at the time, like she still talks about that cupcake.
That's really cool.
And it's just, I mean, story after story after story, even like their housekeeping staff. Like I dropped a rubber band wad of cash because I carry cash on me whenever I go to these, to go to places. They found it under the bed, but, put it on the end table and said, hey, you might have misplaced this, kind of thing. And I mean, we're talking like $800, I mean, like
I've had the opposite because I'm not going to sit here and
really
not tell you the bad stuff. Like we had gift cards. We played the system. We buy everything on a credit card, not a Disney credit card. We cash in. You used to be able to buy Walmart or cash in for Walmart gift cards, go to Walmart, buy Disney gift cards from Walmart, and that's where we would pay for all of our food. So our room would be taken care of with DVC.
I'm just saying, I'm talking about the housekeeping staff.
But what I'm saying is, so long story short, we had gift cards in there. We had $200, $300 gift cards sitting on the counter. They were gone.
Oh, no.
And so, but flip it again. Yes, someone did something terrible by stealing something, but Disney reimbursed us even $50 more than what was lost.
Yeah,
so that's where the hospitality popped back in. Even though someone did something wrong, Disney corrected it. It was, so.
Yeah. Well, and it's like the time that we went on the Disney cruise when I was 12 and it caught on fire.
Are we trying to one up each other here? Are we
no, yes, we are.
You're trying to.
It's not like that. It's actually more like the time that I, got to be Aladdin.
No,
you're both Kristen Wiig right now.
This isn't a joke of a story. This is real. Like the boat caught on fire.
That's crazy.
And we were in the lifeboats dangling on the side. I may have I told the story on the air?
You have.
Yeah,
it's a good story though.
It's great. Yeah, I asked my dad if we were going to die, and he goes, "I don't know, but we've had a really good vacation."
And you paid for that vacation,
That's
by the way.
funny.
Disney cruises.
Yeah.
Expensive.
So Asher, I know we've gone off on a tangent on Disney.
You've sold me on Disney. Like we're good. We're
20
good.
minutes. We've been talking 20 minutes about it.
What's going on in your see? This is what this when we first started this, and it like I don't know if either one of us had this idea first or it was just organic in conversation, which is what I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because probably Asher thought of it first, and I just want to be involved. This is exactly what this podcast is meant to be, right here, just organic conversation. Not that we haven't enjoyed, I personally have enjoyed pumping up other people's businesses and talking about what's going on in their lives and
for sure.
all. But this right here, I just want to say thank you to both of you, because this is why I get up in the mornings outside of wanting to spend it with my family, which is the most important thing. But secondary doing this is awesome. This is exactly what I needed this morning. I just needed to tell you thank you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. I know we did have the conversation a few times, like, hey, we're both extroverts. That looks different for both of us. But like during a quarantine and pandemic situation, it's like we have to have some interaction here. So I would also thank you, Brandon, for being on with us. And we were talking before we officially got started about how you are able to go to Disney multiple times per year, because a lot of people might look at that and think like, ooh, you just got like money out the wazoo.
Yeah.
But But we pointed out your plates on the wall back there, and we were like, man, the whole aesthetic looks amazing. But I know you mentioned it yesterday. Can you tell us a little more about your favorite entrepreneurial endeavor, woodworking?
Yeah, the Dunford and Signs. That's what it's called.
Oh, cool.
And what I love is I love the fact that in the title it says signs,
Right.
but I don't know if I've made a sign in like over a couple years because my wife's like, oh, you want us to do a table? Absolutely, we can do a table. What does my wife contribute to making that table other than the conversation with the customer? Nothing. So anyway, that's
The sale is important. The sale is important.
It
The
is.
sale is
So
important.
yeah, no, that it was one of those things that came up with my wife going, I really like that. I don't want to spend the money on that. Can you make that?
Yeah.
And the creative in me was like, absolutely, let me try that. And I tried it. We sold. We kept selling. And it turned into something. And then we had to take a step back and go, okay, why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I want to keep doing this? And then it turned into, well, what if everything that we make, profit-wise, goes back to our Disney addiction? And so we were like, hey, that's great. So if we want to go on a trip, say we want to go on 5 trips a year, 6 trips a year, whatever it is, then we got to hustle. Then unfortunately, I have to make that table, even if I don't want to. So while I'm making the table, I'll sit there and be like, hey, this right here is for the Dole Whip. This right here is for, the 6 a.m. getting everybody up, ready to go into the park and know that you're going to have the best day and create memories. So for me, it's Disney. For the other entrepreneur that's like, hey, this is my side hustle just to be able to fund my car collection or whatever it is. That is where it's fueled. So yes, I can do it, but I think with any entrepreneur, there's going to be a time where you have to look at it and do a checkup from the neck up and say, is this something I want to keep doing? Well, then I go right into why am I doing it in the first place?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so we can afford to go on this trip. So yeah, I think on the outside, people can look and go, man, they are so much in debt. Guys, we pay everything cash when it comes to that stuff because we can, but you don't sit there and defend yourself every time that someone's like, you're always at Disney. And I'm like, yeah, and I work really hard to do that. So
Yeah.
I had somebody in the same business that I'm in. He ran into me at a store and he basically said, I see you went on vacation. Must be nice. I work for a living. And I went, well, first of all, it really is nice, thoroughly.
Yeah.
And secondly, dude, what do you think I spend my money on? Like,
Yeah.
like,
Why don't you save some money?
Well, it's, I always follow, well, not always, but, few for the last decade or so, really followed a really strict budget and kind of almost a restricting budget until just a few years ago. And I read this thing where it was like, find what makes you happy. What things, and not things, but like, what do you like to do, or what do you like to collect, or whatever that brings you joy? And then you double and triple and quadruple down on that, and everything else, just do the bare minimum. So cars don't mean a lot to me. So, I drive a 2010 Honda Accord, and that's what I drive, and it gets me from A to B, and that's all I care about. Now, granted, we have the truck, which was a lot of money, but that's a business and different.
Right.
And,
right.
clothes don't mean that much to me, so I don't buy a lot. I don't.
I was hoping that you were going to say, so I don't wear them.
Mostly.
No, but traveling means a lot.
Mhm.
Like we love to travel. Like we just love to travel. So that's what we double and triple and quadruple down in. And I'm not trying to get into a budget conversation or anything like that, but it's okay. If dining out makes you happy, do it. First of all, you're not going to become a millionaire by not drinking $4 coffee. And I've said it 100 times, and I'll say it a million more. If $4 coffee in the morning makes you happy, go buy it. Go buy it. Like, don't be like, oh, I can't have that and restrict it.
Right. But you're saying like make that one of like 3 biggies, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Not everything. You can't splurge on everything.
Sure.
Otherwise, you're never going to. you're not going to have a savings account. You're not going to have, other things. And granted, I know bills, and I'm not trying to get into anybody's personal specific budgeting things. I'm just talking about us, right? So like, what do we find joy in? Well, we find joy in traveling. All right, so let's up the budget on traveling.
And there's people out there that find joy in eating out. And that's the difference, right? Because people will sit there and say, Paul, you go so much to Disney, and you sit there, yeah, but we don't eat out. How much money do you spend eating out? I spend $100 a week. Great. We take that $100 and we put that back.
Hey, by the way, I love the people that eat out. Like, you are my favorite people. Just letting you know.
I'm not trying to bash different people. I'm just saying that different people
no.
value.
There's no judgment. No judgment on where you spend your money or how you spend your money. But I mean, like, there are people who aren't musicians, right?
Man, musicians spend dumb money on some instruments and gear
because they love it.
Sure.
And that's cool. I mean, like, who has an $1,800 knife? Why would you have an $1,800 knife? Like, why? I love them.
Yeah, you use it every day.
Well, yeah, but I mean, really. Also, who has a $3 toy that he bought for his kid that he learned how to bang on the hardwood floor?
I love this conversation because I think that when you get to know people, perception is not everything. It really is not. And like a good buddy of mine, like close friend, I mean, very high up in this company. I mean, very high up. And he, we had a conversation one day, never came up, and all of a sudden, yeah, that's a wrestler. Yeah, I know it's a wrestler, but how do you know it's a wrestler? Oh man, I'm a huge WWE fan. Like, dude, Royal Rumble, like all this. I'm like, what in the world? Like you would never peg this person for that. But I think that when you really do get into those relationships with people and really find out what they like and what they value, that's what makes everyone so unique and so different, is what they find value in.
Well, yeah. And I mean, that goes into just, a bunch of different segues. A lot of it is, as guys, like when you talk with men, it's usually the first question is what do you do professionally? Like, and yes, I love what I do professionally, but that's such a small piece of who I am as a person.
For sure.
And then I grow to admire people like we had Lisa Cole on last Friday, and Brandon's taking his headphones off.
He'll be right
because
back.
There's a kid. Yeah, I'm going to stop that part of the conversation. Hey, I will tell you this though.
Yes.
My favorite coffee mug is from Disney as well, and it says His Lordship.
That's awesome. I actually have coffee this morning too.
Do you really?
Yeah.
How are you drinking it? Black? Did you do the Chemex?
It's just black. It was a French press yesterday. We ran out of Chemex filters, so. Oh,
hey, I figured out a way to make the Chemex look like you did Chemex and not really do Chemex. You just put the Chemex under the Keurig and hit the start button.
And then you're like, look, check this out.
No, but I was talking about Brandon. I was talking about Matt and Lisa Cole, right?
Yeah.
And Lisa goes, well, Matt, my husband is XYZ, his profession. And I'm like, I had no idea what he did until 6 months ago.
I want to say everyone thinks he's a secret agent. Like
that's what everybody says.
He's a secret agent.
I know exactly what he does because we've had conversations about it.
Yeah, he's a secret like agent, undercover.
However,
take me down. Like I'm that paranoid.
He's MI6.
Listen, if he's a secret agent and I'm perceived to be a serial killer, we're not hanging out.
Bad news.
So,
that's another conversation, guys. I am a huge fan of true crime. Just to let you guys know if that like tickles your fancy. I don't know.
Here you go, Brandon. You ready? Nobody knows how I make money. Everybody likes me except for 4 people. I had a house that I inherited that nobody lived in, but I would go to and take care of it.
It's not looking good for you.
That's not looking good, but you're kind of. I feel like when you walk into the room, you make yourself known, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? So part of me, I mean, unless you're going.
I'm not trying to do it on the low.
What was that guy? What was the guy? Serial killer. but like good looking guy.
Ted Bundy.
Bundy, yeah, like that Bundy. Man, you gonna get caught.
I
Come
mean,
on.
yeah, it's like hiding in plain sight,
Driving the same car over and over again.
Right.
Like, come on,
Escaping
man.
out of
Like,
the prison library window.
yeah. So obviously you watched the Zac Efron flick, right?
No, I knew that before.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I'm a big fan too. I can't get too into the documentaries because, like, I mean, Brandon, you and I have known each other for at least 10 years now. Like
Yeah.
back in the way back Faith Promise days for me. Back then, man, I could watch like, oh, what was the show with Walter White and Breaking Bad, right? Very dark show, very like get your heart rate up because you don't know what's going to happen next. I can't do those things anymore for some reason.
Dude, Criminal Minds.
Criminal Minds, every
used
season.
to watch Criminal Minds all the time. I can't get through it now. I'm like, they're going there. Like,
Yeah.
what? No,
Like my heart can't handle it. Like my mind, it's just like I'll have nightmares and yeah, it's crazy.
But I am a huge fan of like making a murder.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like looking at people's perspective. Like a director, they want you to think this one way, even though this over here is happening.
Listen,
Yeah.
Hey, that director has convinced me to never go to Manitowoc County. So I will tell you
Well,
that.
but
I'm
here's
never going there.
Like
I don't
if-
care. No, I'm never
Right,
going to
there
that
is
county.
2 cents to put into that right there, whether he did it or not. Okay,
I don't
so
care
this-
which way.
Well, I'm going to say this: like, whether he did it or not is irrelevant. And the fact that it was obvious that they planted evidence, like you can't spin that. Like it was obvious that there was evidence planted. Boom, thrown out. Whether he did it or not, I mean, it is what it is. But you can't plant evidence. Like, come on, like the corrupt system.
I'm just saying, one of those 4 people that don't like me, they know I'm going to be in Manitowoc County. They're paying somebody off. Like that's what's happening. Like
Exactly,
I'm done.
exactly.
I'm done. Like.
But no, that was actually one of the ones that, and I know that was not that long ago, probably,
Yeah.
but that one really fueled the, I really like true crime stuff. Like, and I get that. It's like, but how true is that? I mean, someone's trying to tell a narrative, a story
Exactly.
that they want to tell their opinion, and I get that. And you have to go after the facts. And I'm that type of guy that I love watching biopics or whatever it is, and then I will turn around and research the crap out of that,
Right.
and I enjoy that type of stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, I was going to mention this too, but Chris Knox in the chat said, "Have you ever listened to the Serial podcast?" Personally, I have not, but S-Town.
So I have not listened to Serial. There's a guy named Lance Asher and Tucker McGinnis. There's a couple other people that are just raving about the Serial podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and something to do with wrongfully wrongfully convicted.
Right.
But no, I haven't, and I do want to get into that, man. Like actually, I'm probably going to download it after this because, when you talk about something, you get real excited about it. 2 things. Number one, I'm going to make sure that my Disney trip in October is good to go because of our conversation. And then also, I'm going to have to check out the Serial podcast.
Yeah.
There's one that I saw advertised actually on television as I reran Jeopardy last night when I got back to the house. It's something about Appalachian mysteries, like Appalachian unsolved mysteries that they have. There's a podcast based around Appalachian unsolved mysteries, which I think is pretty fascinating. That it's right here.
Yeah.
Right, like right there. Like, so, yeah, which I've never seen a podcast advertised on television before, but that kind of impressed me a little bit too.
Yeah.
We want you to listen.
Yeah.
And listen up good.
Man,
Well, it's better than the Jeopardy commercials the other ones I was watching as well.
yeah, for sure. There's one I've been listening to. I don't know if you all are Harry Potter fans, but there's one called
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Binge Mode Harry Potter, adult content warning, which is hilarious because they're talking about children's books. But
You put something out on Facebook the other day about this.
Yes.
I read that.
Yes.
Yeah, so we didn't have internet. We just built a house. We haven't had internet. We do now, but because it was going to cost a lot of money. We had talked a little bit about that, but
right.
For 6 months, and so the only Blu-ray DVDs we had were the whole collection of Harry Potter. Dude, I love Harry Potter. We're huge fans in this house.
Right.
Got the elder one, but seriously, every day we're watching a different one, even though we watched it last week.
Right.
Like, So I'm like up to speed on something I enjoy.
All
But yeah, so I need to watch what?
Well, I was just gonna say that that podcast, they always advertise like Universal Studios, which is just, it's crazy to me. I mean, obviously there's a Harry Potter thing there and Star Wars stuff there, right? No,
That's Disney.
that's Disney. Oh gosh, whatever. See, I don't know anything, but it's just crazy that a podcast is advertising that kind of a theme park, and then vice versa. What you were saying, Paul, with like TV advertising a podcast, it's just like, it's strange to me, but
Yeah.
it's getting
Well,
huge,
it was
so.
really smart to put it on. I will say this: I'm not. I think television marketing is not the biggest and not the busiest. Shout out to my boy Brian. I love you. He deals with advertising sales with a local news or a local news station. But outside of the news, and then like those tried and true, like everyday shows, like Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, Price is Right, kind of thing like that. There aren't, like, most people, I hate to say it, are either recording it or they're looking down at their phone during commercial breaks currently.
Yeah,
And that's just not where it's at.
For
Sorry,
sure.
not to that went really crazy. Sorry. Brandon, I can have 16 conversations in about 10 minutes. So
No, I love it. The only problem I have is you have those conversations, and I'm wanting to say, nah, I'm wanting to jump in on those.
Yeah, go ahead.
do it, jump. So
My kid is super happy this morning, by the way. I don't know if you can hear
those
him
are
in the
happy
background.
noises, right?
Oh no, those
Yesterday-
screams are happy noises. So
Yesterday, I
Yeah.
got up at 7. I woke my son up. I made sure that he was set up, like he was good to go. This morning, 7:05, my son wasn't even up. Like I'm trying to make sure that everything is like in order. So yeah, I understand the whole. Your son's
Oh, yeah.
happy.
I do not.
Yeah,
I
he's
just
good.
I just have to make sure that 2 dogs are happy and that they have peed in the morning, and then I'm good to go. So,
Yeah.
speaking,
You having dogs has almost convinced me to have one, by the way.
so
So
great. They're the greatest thing. Brandon, I wanted to at least mention Malachi's Cooking Corner, but before we get to it, Paul keeps using this term called serial entrepreneur, and every time he says it, it makes me think that someone is just making cereals just all the time, testing different recipes and stuff. So my question for you, before we get into your the YouTube channel, is what kind of cereal would you develop if you were a serial entrepreneur?
hey,
Okay, so I had this idea a while
I knew
ago,
it.
and
I knew it.
yeah. I had this. When I say a while ago, I said 15, 20 years ago.
Sure.
Okay, as a young 20 years ago. I'm not putting a number on my age, but cereal ice cream. Okay, so obviously, knowing what I know now, sogginess, all that stuff would actually happen. So you'd have to find a way to be able to keep it. So it's kind of like a blast at Sonic. Shout out to Sonic.
Sure.
You're welcome. Where you can get all your blasts, all your slushy needs. Thank you,
Are
Sonic.
they sponsoring your life or something?
What if secretly I had these sponsors and every now and then I throw them out? But like I would do like a cereal ice cream, like where a perfect ratio. And I think it's, Oreo is not a cereal, but like that's the closest like to like what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But something like that. So, because I like ice cream, I like something creamy.
Right.
But too, I like that crunch.
Yeah.
And so, if you can find a way to keep the crunch, maybe it's something out there. Paul, is that even something that's been done? I don't even know.
well, all I kept thinking about was Clark Griswold in Christmas Vacation, where he developed the thing where the coat for the cereal where the milk didn't get into it and it stayed crunchy.
I've never seen it. So
Yeah, it's a holiday
Classic,
favorite
I know.
for some people.
A staple. There is an
Really?
Oreo O's cereal. Have you ever had that one before?
yeah. My wife is a huge organic, like healthy type of person. So
Right.
that type of cereal, I don't really get to eat much of. The pantry is stocked with stuff that people developed on Etsy. I don't even know.
More power to her, by the way. Do y'all do any essential oils?
No,
Right, ask that
no.
question.
I've tried. I'm not going to bash them.
Sure.
And that's not where I'm at all. Because I have had some where it's worked extremely well.
Yeah.
And then of course the other side of me, I'm like, but was it because I did XYZ before I did that oil stuff, or so.
Or is it mental?
Yeah, or
That's what I was
mental,
gonna say.
and that's the other thing. Like, oh my gosh, I have carpal tunnel. I'm wearing this like bracelet, and now I don't have it anymore. Like, is it a mental game? I don't know. I'm not going to go into that because there's debates in there. So, but I will say, no. I mean, we don't buy or sell the oils. We have bought some just to test out certain things to see if it would work. But I mean, nothing.
I am the biggest like Western medicine person you'll meet, and I would love to say that the hype is not there, but every time that I unknowingly either it gets into like a diffuser or like is in like some kind of lotion or a soap or like one like frankincense, like for
Oh no. Did we lose Paul? He
It
was
was Paul the whole time.
Paul was kind of I know he was kind of our rock yesterday. And mine kept going out, but we'll see if we can get him back in here from Skype.
Do your best Paul impression right now. Yeah.
My eyebrows are a little too angry when I'm trying
That
to do
is
Paul.
That's the serial killer picture right there. That's the picture. It's like, have you seen this guy?
That's hilarious. He looks like a guy from a band right now, and I cannot place what it is, but it's cracking me up. Or maybe he's
Hey,
a DJ.
I'll plug this too, just
Yeah.
because I'm looking at this, thinking of this right now. There's a series on Netflix. I want to say it's a 4 or 5 parter. So
Yeah.
explicit everywhere,
Right.
even in the title. But don't blank with cats. Like, if you are over 18, please watch it. I mean, it's a really cool. I don't know. It is a murder mystery thing. Someone put something on YouTube back in the day when you could put a lot of stuff on YouTube, and it was very violent. And these people took it upon themselves to figure out who that person was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of this murder, animal cruelty situation.
Right.
But that one will get you. That's a good one.
Well, I'll tell you, like the whole thing with Tiger King 2 rings true with me for that. The whole animal cruelty, like I can't handle it. Like even if there's just a thought of it, it's like, ugh, I don't know if
I get it.
I don't know if I can do it, because the whole Tiger King thing, like I know he was thinking like I'm treating these animals well, I'm giving them maybe a better life than what they would have had, but I don't know. It's the same thing with zoos and even like Disney Animal Kingdom. It's like it's always going to be in the back of my head.
Yeah, it's a hard thing because I don't want to get too much into that because I don't want it to all of a sudden turn into because I'm the same way. Like I think it's been said multiple times, but Tiger King, I think that the director maybe went out with a great intention. However, he really did find a great story, and that was the people, the animals, and they were they were left in the dark. I mean, in the whole documentary, and that's fine. I mean, that might be the intention of the whole thing. It's like, dude, these people are just. There's no good person. Like in that documentary, everyone was a villain.
Right,
like that was
right.
what was crazy in that documentary was there was not a good person in that whole entire thing. But I will say this. That's another show right there that goes to show you that you could destroy someone's life. I mean, Carol Baskin, right? She'll never. I mean, you could say, "Oh, everyone will forget in a year or two or whatever." No, I mean, I don't even know if her park's doing well. I haven't done that research or anything.
Right.
I know that the one that Tiger King was filmed at primarily is blowing up right now. Like people are like parking outside for days to get in type of thing.
Oh my gosh.
But maybe not days, but hours.
Sure,
But
sure.
anyway, but that just goes to show the power of media. And I'm doing a weird bring it back around here, but
Yeah.
like that's a show. The power of media is we talked a little bit about making a murder, that narrative that they're trying to, that story that they want to tell,
Hmm.
whether, and they're going to leave out these little facts. And as a director, you might sit there or a producer and say, well, we let those out because that didn't move the story along.
Sure.
And then if you're on the other side, that he did it or didn't do it, whatever side you're on, you might be sitting there going, no, 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 that changed the whole game, but you
Hmm.
left that out. And the other people are going, no, they're right. It didn't move the story along. And that's kind of the same thing with Tiger King, I think, is they were like, hey, the story were the people. The story was the fact that, did she or did she not?
Right.
This mystery. Here, can I say this? People could judge me all day long if they want to. But the fact that Carol Baskin said, if you want to kill a person, you wouldn't put perfume, you would put like sardine, whatever that quote was that she
Sardine
said.
oil.
That does not mean that she did that. Anybody would sit here, and if you said, Brandon, how would you kill a person? I would say with a frozen, what is that? Like a
Oh,
not
the
an ice cube, but
yeah.
no, like an icicle.
Icicle. Yeah.
Icicle. Why? CSI showed me that. Like, kill him with an icicle, it melts. You'll never even find a murder weapon, right? Fingerprints gone. So, like, just because you make a comment like that, that does not go, see, she did it. And I think that people jump on those things instead of doing research. And but the memes are funny.
Sure, sure. We could get into the whole political climate on that same kind of
Absolutely.
note, which we won't do because we don't get too political on this.
That's right.
But I latched onto something you said about the narrative of that story, just the fact that everyone's a villain. It's kind of like the whole Walter White thing with Breaking Bad. Like it started out and you're rooting for him, and then by the end of the show, you're like, oh, he sucks.
Yeah.
He's kind of terrible. But I wanted to ask you because I know that you're big into story. With the whole Harry Potter thing, like they flipped, like J.K. Rowling flipped the script on a lot of characters throughout the 7 books and the 8 movies of that story. But it definitely still started as the classic like hero kind of thing, coming from obscurity, rising to the challenge at hand and all that kind of stuff. But do you feel like story in general, the way that humanity perceives it, is changing at all? And it's a very leading question because I think so. It's leaning more toward like nobody is actually a good person kind of thing rather than
I think that whether it's a book or a movie, we have been trained a certain way, and to a good story. Characters are introduced. We fall in love with the characters. There's a situation that happens. They have to come out of that situation, and then we want the happy ending.
right.
And I think that we would sit here and say, "Oh, but what if they didn't have the happy ending? I'd be okay with that." I don't know. I think that if you change up the story, and I think people are, because the same story is being told over and over and over again with just different vessels telling it.
Yeah.
And I think that you have to. I think that you do have to change it up a little bit. If you look at, even clothing trends. I mean, like, you get bored of certain things. We're going back to the 70s, the 80s, right? Like jean jackets were back in a year ago. They're still in, but like they were like really high up there a year to 2 years ago. They came back, but you could never catch someone 5-6 years ago in a jean jacket. Like,
oh,
are you
it's
kidding
awful.
me? Jean jacket. But like what I'm saying is we want to change it up. We do want to change it up. We want I don't know. I think that the new iPhone in a couple of years is going to actually go smaller than bigger, and we want to try to change it up and be different, because if you don't, then we're always going to be, praise the Lord, he has risen,
There
he
he
is
is.
back.
I had to restart everything in the house, from the internet to the computer to I don't know what it is, but
To your kids' iPads to
I imagine another Clark Griswold moment, like the breaker box, like down in the basement kind of thing. You're like moving plugs around.
nothing that dramatic.
Okay,
I would have just been like, hey, something's wrong. I'm not coming back.
Well, we
to put a period in that,
Yeah.
I'd say it has to change.
sure.
It has to change. And I think that's just because of human nature of like, we get complacent and we don't like that. And so it's got to change. And to go back to a question you asked yesterday about, actually, I think it was Paul that asked the question, and that was, what are some of the things that we have had to change because of the times that we're in right now that we think that are going to stick or can stick, that could be better, that you learned through this process? And that kind of goes back to, hey, we're learning new things, and we're going to change a little bit how we operate now, and it's because we are put in a circumstance to do that. But I think that ultimately things are always going to be changing, and whether we're ready for it or not. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Lindsay was asking me, like, we were on a walk with the dogs last night, and I was talking about the online lesson thing, and she was like, "Do you think you'll keep?" I know, right?
Oh, there we go.
And
I think the surprising face coming back is better. Like yes. Yeah, okay, Lindsay on the walk. My wife's name's Lindsay as well.
Exactly.
S-E-Y.
S-E-Y.
S-E-Y?
Yes.
Okay.
S-A-Y? No, S-E-Y.
No, S-E-Y.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was asking me about like the online lessons, like, am I going to keep those around? And I was like, absolutely, because I mean, every once in a while, maybe twice a month, someone's like, oh my gosh, we totally forgot about lessons. And then it's like, okay, do I stick with my policy and you don't get a makeup, or am I a nice person and good customer service? That's okay. We'll do the makeup because you make it every other lesson. And I was like, we can just do the online thing. If they forget and they're at home, just fire up the computer. We'll do a 25-minute thing and we're good to go. And just like so many opportunities with it. I wish it was the same for food and you could just transport it virtually, because I would buy a lot more food from Lanai Food Truck. Maybe one day.
We're out there.
You're out there.
So
for sure.
Yeah, we're out there. We're roaming the streets of West Knoxville.
Yeah, absolutely.
And South Knoxville and North Knoxville and a little bit. So.
I feel like we just reached this moment where we could go anywhere from here. And normally I have some direction, but I don't know where to go. I can ask you a million more questions, but what do you think, Brandon? What's on your mind right now?
What's on my mind right now?
Mm-hmm.
No filter.
No filter.
Filter.
Slight
but
filter.
No filter.
PG filter.
I just imagine Paul with a like an ice cream style funnel thing going around neighborhoods, and it's the do quack quack, and it's him driving around doing like an ice cream truck style, but it's really him doing his Lanai food, and it's adults running out like kids would for an ice cream truck. Oh my gosh, I need that, and
well, that's kind of what's going to happen for the next few weeks.
I think it's a great idea.
All we're doing really is neighborhoods and going there and selling food for people that live there.
Put a speaker on top of there with a microphone and whatever you want to say.
No, we have 2 speakers on the side of the truck.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
That I actually can plug a microphone into and talk into and do that.
What you do is once one person buys, then you say, hey, who are 2 neighbors that like of or whatever, and you get their name and you drive by and you're like, Daryl, come on out, Daryl.
So, I've seen all these memes about, honestly, margarita trucks or something like that going to neighborhoods.
Also
but not
a great
to go
idea.
a booze route of it. I've also kind of wondered why the coffee trucks haven't like come to the neighborhoods and been like, yo, there's coffee here.
Yeah.
Speaking of 8 a.m. coffee, like, hey, I mean, how many times is it, you've been on your way to work and you're like, I'll be late to stop and get a cup of coffee. I mean, like, I've done it. Fortunately, I report to myself, but
when would you set up though? See, that's the tricky
like
thing. Do you set up at 6 a.m.?
I say you go at 6:30 and stay till 9.
Okay.
And just be like,
help everybody start their day.
Or is it something you announce the day before?
No, I think you have a rotating weekly schedule like I do. Now, on the other hand, the other trucks have done really, 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 the coffee trucks have done well at corporate offices. Really well at corporate offices, because they're like, okay, I'm not going to stop and get a cup of coffee because the coffee run, I'll just name drop them. Great couple that own that. they're like, oh, they're going to be here on Tuesday. So it's Tuesday. I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to stop and get coffee. I'll just get someone I get to work. And like, you can text your order in and all that. You text it in, you go and you pick up your cup of coffee and you go into work. I mean, unless you're that person that needs it before they actually speak to human beings, which is possible. So, but if you're that person, I kind of feel like you're having a cup at home first and then another one on the way.
Yeah,
like,
sure. You're putting the Chemex under the Keurig to make it look fancy.
Yeah, you can make it look fancy by doing that.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Sometimes you got to fake it to make it.
Exactly. That's what my dad told me when I went to job interviews wearing shorts. He was like, whatever, fake it till you make it. So here I am running my own business, right? Speaking of margarita trucks, Brandon, do you have a favorite or signature adult beverage that you enjoy?
Not really.
No.
I mean, like, I want to say, when you turn 21, you might venture out and just try a drink.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say the first was like a Madras.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
A Madras has something to do with grapefruit and vodka, but
that's exactly what it is.
Okay, cool.
But bro, I have not in years.
Really?
Like, sugar rim usually.
Yeah, like it's not my cup of tea or cup of whatever. Like, so
cup of
I
vodka.
just don't. Yeah.
And you know what? That's perfect. Like, that's I think, because I have friends that don't consume,
mm-hmm.
right? And one of the things that probably irritates me the most about some people that I'm not friends with, their acquaintances, is when somebody says, "Oh, I don't drink," and they're like, "No, you got to try this," and it's like, "Nah, dude, I don't drink."
Right.
Like, chill with me for a second. Like, that's like me saying, "Hey, I don't like mushrooms." No, but you'll like these. No, I'm pretty sure I don't like them. Like I'm good. I worked for a chef one time, and he and I kind of have the same policy that you get to choose what goes into your body. If you don't, I do get irritated when people look at our menu and think it is an ingredients list. I will not deny that. Like, you can't make your own dish off of what I have in here. Please don't do that. But when they're like, "Hey, I don't like tomatoes," you wouldn't say that about somebody that doesn't like tomatoes. You would say, "All right, cool, I'll just leave the tomatoes off." But if you're like, "Hey, I don't drink," for some reason,
it's like, hey,
no, you should try this. Nah, we good. So I'm totally on board with that. I have a cocktail every once in a while, but that doesn't mean I'm always into it.
But you have to be able to read that too. What you're saying is there has to be no, man, I'm fine. "No, man, I'm fine" means there's a story behind that, and we're not getting into that, so respect what I'm saying. And I think that there's always going to be something behind, like, I don't, whatever it is, especially when it comes to an alcoholic beverage, it might be, hey, that'll destroy my witness. Like, I'm good. Like, but you have to be able to read that. I mean, yeah. I do. I think that there has to be a moment if you're like, "Hey, man, try this," and they're like, "No, I'm good." There's a reason. It's not just because they're like, "No, dude, I don't want to, drink out of the same cup as you." It's not that. Like, there is something, and you have to respect it because you don't know. Like, it might have something to do in the past. It may have something to do with a family member. It may have something to do with what's going on. So
it may have to do with they just don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, that's me. Like, okay, you just don't want to. Like,
keep
that's
going.
all
1
good.
second.
And anyways,
and the whole drinking out of another person's cup, like, you can't even make that argument because, I mean,
alcohol kills everything.
I know if Jesus taught us anything, in the Old Testament, it was more of a sanitation thing than anything. So I've heard. I don't claim to be a biblical scholar, by the way, nor would I ever use that to justify drinking for anyone.
Hey, I just got notified that payday was tomorrow. That's fun.
Nice.
Not as in I'm receiving paychecks,
but it's
as
just
in I have to write them.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if we've ever talked. I am the worst. I'm the worst and the best about paying people.
Really?
I will tell you that. Yeah. So I'm the worst because I always forget.
Okay.
Like I
Okay.
really always forget to run payroll. I just really do. I'm the best though, because you could come up to me on any day of the week and go, "Hey, you're supposed to write me a paycheck today." Oh,
And
okay,
you'll
I'm
do it
sorry.
like on
How
the
much is
spot.
it?
Oh
Like
gosh.
I'll just pull out the check and go. Like I really am. Like I don't count the drawers. I'm like, all right, I trust my staff. Like I I'm just like, okay, whatever it is. I've lost I've lost checks that are very large numbers like 3 minutes after getting them. I'm
That
like, where is that at?
it stresses me out just hearing that so much, so very much.
Like, I'll give you the amount of one of the checks. I lost a $98,000 check one time. 3 minutes after getting it, I couldn't find it. And
You
legitimately,
found it, or you called the
no,
people,
we
right?
found it. I
Okay,
didn't
I
find it.
was
But, but,
piece of money,
but,
Paul.
well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. Everybody else was like frantically looking for it. I was like, all right, well, if we don't find it, they'll just cut us a new one. Like, I mean, that's really, I was like, all right, whatever. Like, we're good. We're fine. Don't worry about it. Like, and it was part of an inheritance. So,
Right. Right.
and,
Of course. Yeah.
which I had to, again, serial killer. Um,
I guess.
We know what you're doing there, Paul. The food truck is
no,
fine.
Trying to stay on the good
no,
side
no.
over here.
No, and we don't talk about finances with people because honestly, it's none of anybody's business how we make money or where we make money. That's where the mystery comes in. Is that we do what we do and we go. A lot of what you were talking about earlier was, I don't know how much of the conversation I missed. I probably missed a really good chunk of it. So if we
The
already talked
best.
about this,
You missed the best
or
chunk of it.
here's the best part is if I'm getting ready to go into a subject, you can be like, we already talked about that, even if you didn't, because you don't want to hear me talk about it. But was the reason Ashley started Disney planning was because she loves it, right? First, but also it helps pay for our vacations.
Hmm.
And I have learned so much. Like when I say I don't know what goes on there, I've learned so much just by watching her do things. And like I'm like blown away at the amount of, no offense, time you have to put into planning one of these trips. Um, you have to be up at like 7 a.m. making fast passes. It is
Yes.
no joke.
Dude, I put it in my calendar. Like
Like,
it really is, and there's a respect level that has to happen if you've been to Disney. Oh, and I know this would get under Ashley's skin too, in a positive way, but not a positive, but it irritate her. Is the people that are like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go wing it. Like no, like I'm gonna be honest. Like Disney is a planning thing. Like you don't understand. Like there is a science that really does go into this. Two tips real quick, just because I can.
This is helpful for me,
Here are
by
the
the
two
way.
tips. Well, this two tips. We found out accidentally the best hack for fast passes, and there's a thing called rider swap, and it's where, let's say, Malachi's with us, and we're about to go on a ride, and you know we have to switch off. So it's me and then Lindsay, right? So like Lindsay has to stay with Malachi. I'll go on the ride. So you go up to the person that's, either if you got a fast pass or a line or whatever, and you say, hey, I need a rider swap. And they'll basically give you a 3-person ticket, okay, which turns into a fast pass for that ride. So what that means is once you ride the ride, the other person can go through the fast pass line because now they have a fast pass. But here's where the trick is. You already have a fast pass. So you walk up, you scan your fast pass, and you say, hey, I need a rider swap. They give you a rider swap. You go on the ride. Then Lindsay, my wife, goes to the fast pass because she already has a fast pass and says, hey, I need a rider swap. There's no pointing and saying that's my husband. There was no affiliation with me. And so boom. Now what we just did was we used our fast passes on our wrists. Now we've got a limited, when I say a limited, I mean time, not amount of time.
Right.
3 people can go on that one fast pass anytime for that one ride. So meaning now you're not on this hour time restriction, so you can go do whatever you want, and now you have these 2 free fast passes that, let's be honest, my son can even go and ride the ride with us during that because we played the system. And we learned that through taking another family that had a large group of kids. And man, dude, I've never rode as many rides as I rode because we played that. And there was a funny story that happened, and it was Space Mountain. The lady actually did say, "Where is your wife?" And dude, I pointed at the first person that I saw, and it was a lady with a let's just say I'm going to be very nice. She was not a runner, like eating means. She didn't look like me and her would go together. And I just said, "There she is over there. Hey, honey. Hey." Okay, anyway. And then, like, okay, here you go. And we went in. So, I mean, that was the only time that I almost got, like, let's just say,
like
caught.
busted, yeah.
But busted. But this way right here, man, like, I'm telling you, this system really does work unless they have, like somehow come down on that, which is kind of a little hard to come down on.
Right.
But that's one of my best hacks to give anybody that's going to be doing it.
They're not going to be like, "That's not your wife."
So two things. First of all, people have said that Ashley is not my wife 100 times. So, my favorite one about that was when we were at church and I took a picture of her on my phone as she was on the platform, and some lady tapped me on the shoulder and she said, "The girls don't like it when you take pictures of them."
Oh my gosh.
They don't know about it. And I'm like, "That's my wife." And she went, "Okay."
No, man, if you just would have said, "You have no," I'm not going to go there. You have no idea about that girl.
Actually, when you said, I bet it would irritate Ashley if nobody planned. I looked at her and asked her that, and she went, "You and I have done that a bunch of times."
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Because you know Disney, though. Like, there's a difference there.
I will say this, though. You have to have a plan with kids.
Absolutely.
Like, you have to have. The last time we went, I got park hopper for the kids when we shouldn't have gotten park hopper for the kids. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to be honest with you. We should have just done one park a day, right? And I made them park hop so that I could prove that I was right in this conversation. And that was not. Anyways.
Hey, here's another hack for you. My son just turned 6, but he's a small little guy. He can't do all the rides. So if you have little ones that cannot do these big rides that you are going to be getting a fast pass for, get them that fast pass because you could turn around, take their magic band, and go on that ride as well right after you do it. Now, if you are like, well, we're the type of family where I book these fast passes for us, and then I will book them. Not if it's the same time slot. There's no way you're going to be able to stand in a 30-minute line and then turn around and make it to that other fast pass. Yeah. So, yes, I am a huge planner when it comes into that. But even when it comes to planning, you do have to think on your feet when you're there because things do change. And, a sidewalk thing breaks out and you want to watch it.
I have I hate to say dumb luck, but dumb luck with fast passes. Like I can get flight of passage at 1:00 in the afternoon day of, and I've done it.
Yeah. Well, you can, but people think that one time I look at it and I can't get it, they don't look at it anymore. But you're right. Like people do cancel things, and you get lucky, and you've got the luck. It sounds like.
Yeah, every once in a while.
It sounds like I have a lot to look forward to for Disney.
Yes. One more plug.
Go for it.
Plug, but I'm going to go get it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
do
give me a second.
it.
Yeah.
Brandon's worse than my kids on FaceTime getting up and going again stuff. He's like, "Let me go get something real quick."
That's funny.
Dude, to shift it away from Disney, it's one of my kids' birthdays today.
Ooh, happy birthday. Which one?
Lucas. Old Lucas.
How old?
He turns 6 years old.
6. Whoa.
6. So shout out to Lucas, who doesn't watch Facebook, but my mom will wish him a happy birthday on Facebook today.
Nice.
Even though he does not have Facebook, and it'll be great. So, and it's okay for me to say this because she can't hear me. And that's the worst. I'm the worst human when it comes to those things.
I love it because I feel like I want to make those jokes and I don't feel like I can. So I appreciate you doing it.
I told you the funny thing that she does. She'll talk and then I'll interpret for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you can understand her, but I'll be like, she's saying this. She's like, "Paul, stop it."
Hey, Paul, I don't know if your family already has these or not. My wife found these, and this just, like I said, huge Disney fans at this house. And the Contemporary Resort or Bay Lake Towers, depending on if you're a DVC member, it has this smell. And when I walk into Bay Lake Towers, it just has this like beach warm smell, and they are really good with their smells at Disney.
Oh, I want that so bad.
Well, here you can have it. So
Candles.
there's a candle company that it's called Magic Candle Company, and this is the smell right here. And this one is actually called Pirate Life, which is weird because I'm trying to think. There is no point in Pirates of the Caribbean that this smell happens.
Mm-hmm.
However, this does happen on Flight of Passage. So that's the crazy thing. That literally, we go so much, people go so much that literally I can go. They use this smell in Flight of Passage. They use it in the Contemporary Resort. So we have that one. We have the pineapple waffle. This is amazing. Smells like Dole Whip. So it's a sweet smell. Churros, more in Disneyland versus Disney World, which I am a huge fan of Disneyland. I know some people aren't, but I am. So churros, and then the waffles have a waffle smell. I don't know why my wife picked these really sweet smells, because I'm more of I don't know.
Hey, hold on.
Savory
I'll
smell.
be back since we're doing show and tells, and I have to one up you.
Okay, yeah. No. This whole show you have been. So you've been trying.
Trying.
Now that he's not listening right now. Man, he does one up, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
I can't try to. I mean, the only thing I have on him is the DVC membership that he doesn't have right now.
True. I'm really eager to see what this is. Is it more smells?
No, I mean, I might be able to one up him.
Hey, do me a favor. Put up your waffle candle again.
Okay, waffle. Okay, well, hold on. I didn't see what you brought in, but just because you said waffle candle, you're going to show me that you have a waffle maker. It's fine. It totally makes sense. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Good grief.
No, makes total sense. So, there you go. I mean, do you want me to go get my? Do you want me to go get my Mickey? I make pancakes, and it's a Mickey stencil. Exactly.
Hold on.
So
I'll join in. I'll join in real quick. Let me do a quick show and tell. This is not Disney related, but it's funny.
No, I love this. This is great. Bring your best. Yeah.
This used to hold racquetball balls in it. I have put brown rice in it. I've recorded with this shaker more than any shaker that I've actually paid money for on various songs and albums.
And that goes back to the conversation we had yesterday about finding that sound. It may be in something that you never even thought could be. It's rice, and not even like a racquetball thing that you would throw away.
Right.
So the waffle maker, this is actually the second one we got. The first one, there was something wrong with it, and it would burn one side and the other side was raw.
Oh, no.
Like, it was horrible. So they, of course, it was Disney Store, but of course they were like, yes, we'll just send you a new one. And then you can either ship back the one that you have, or cut the cord and take a picture of it and email it to us and just throw it away.
Whoa.
That's a smart idea, though.
So instead of doing like shipping on the way back, because all they're going to do is throw it away. Like, they're not fixing that.
Right.
They're like, just cut the cord, and like, we know that it's legit.
Right.
Bro,
and I'm like,
there, man. If it did work, you take a picture, you Photoshop it with a cut cord, and then you got two makers.
That's a lot of work, though.
I'm not trying to, stealing here. I'm not trying to say that, but
or just rewire it.
Brandon works a lot of systems.
Yeah. Right.
Life hacks, man.
Yeah.
Just a full.
Well, hey, Brandon, it has been a blast having you on. We're coming to the end of our time here, so we always want whoever our guest is to just plug whatever you have going on. I know we talked a little about Malachi's Cooking Corner yesterday and not a whole lot today. I know you have a woodworking shop that it sounds like you want people to know about, but also not necessarily know about.
Dunford and Signs, there's a Facebook for that. Malachi's Cooking Corner, there's a Facebook and Instagram. Actually, Dunford and Signs has an Instagram as well.
Cool.
But Malachi's Cooking Corner just got picked up from a kids streaming service, which
awesome.
is a huge deal for us, called Yippee.tv. But yeah, we started on YouTube. That's where we're at. And Malachi's Cooking Corner, you can find it on social platforms as well. But that's what we got going on. The big ticketed items. I got stuff in the works, just like you guys do. Working on something. Had a great meeting yesterday about a new project with some friends of mine, and
Cool.
we'll see where that goes. And then maybe next time I'm on here, we're talking about that. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I love that you said next time you're on here, like you knew I was about to say, "Hey, let's have you back sometime."
He's projecting it. He's projecting it. Speaking it
Well,
into
if you
existence.
Speak it
don't
into
say we need to
existence.
have you back on, then that's kind of like the date's over, and then
There's no
like,
second date.
well,
I'll
no,
call,
it's
I'll call you. I'll call you.
I'll call you or the interview. Like we can go that direction too. It's like so I could start today, and it's like we'll call you.
Let's
We'll
do
have
that.
someone call you. Like, good.
We'll
Have
we'll
someone call you is not a good answer.
or we'll see about a second interview.
Hey, listen, we can talk about interviews all the time. I look at people across the table and go, nah, we were good. Go on.
Well, hold on. So Asher, you worked at Chick-fil-A, right?
Oh man, long time ago, but yes.
And then Ashley obviously worked at Chick-fil-A. I know that.
Mhm.
I think that like you learn a lot from just even a company of that stature.
Yes.
Of you are wearing a uniform, but like the people that are wearing those uniforms, there's a process that like an interview process that you go through to be able to wear that uniform. Very much going into Disney as well.
Hmm.
Like there's a certain type of people, not trying to segregate, but like that work
Yeah,
for that role
and
there. That's a whole
and
nother
then
conversation.
Sure,
we
sure.
we have a and we have a friend that's actually a VIP tour guide down there,
Yeah,
and
Nice.
yeah.
that it took her 6 years working at Disney to be able to do that.
Have you done one of those tours though?
No,
Keys
Ooh,
to the
one
Kingdom.
up
Bro.
him. One
Keys
up
to the
him.
Kingdom. Please do it. You like that?
no, it's
Like,
there's like that's a justification
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
have to come to terms with right there.
All right. Well,
So
on that note, let's end it there. We'll have you back for sure, and we'll see you all tomorrow morning on 8 a.m. coffee.